I'll write Part 1, The Arrival of Terror in about 800 words using simple English and Korean names with a third-person perspective. Here's the story. The sky turned dark above Seoul one ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Sunlight dimmed as a strange shape blocked the sun. People on the streets stopped walking and looked up. What they saw made them freeze in fear. A massive creature hung in the air. It looked like nothing anyone had seen before. Its body twisted and changed shape, covered with hard plates that shimmered with an unnatural light. Parts of it looked like an insect, other parts like something from the deepest ocean. It was bigger than the tallest buildings. Taxi driver Hoon Park slammed on his brakes as traffic stopped. "What is that thing?" he whispered. His passenger, an old woman, began to pray quietly. The beast made no sound at first. It simply hovered, watching. Then it began to move. The military responded quickly. Fighter jets screamed across the sky, firing missiles at the creature. The explosions lit up the darkened sky, but when the smoke cleared, the beast remained untouched. The missiles had not even scratched its strange skin. News spread fast across the world. Similar creatures appeared over Tokyo, New York, London, and Moscow. No weapons could hurt them. They destroyed buildings, bridges, and power stations with beams of energy that shot from their bodies. People called them many names: destroyers, sky demons, world enders. Most simply called them the beasts. In a small coastal town far from Seoul, 8-year-old Jin Sun watched the news with wide eyes. Her parents, both scientists, talked in worried voices as they packed important papers into boxes. "We must leave tonight," her father, Dr. Kim, said. "The evacuation orders are clear. That thing could come this way next." Jin's mother nodded, her face tight with worry. "I've packed your research and mine. The government wants all scientists at the safe zone." Jin barely listened to her parents. Something about the creature on the TV screen caught her attention. While others saw only a monster, she noticed something else: the way it moved, the patterns of light that flashed across its body. "Mom," Jin said suddenly. "The lights on the monster, they repeat." Her mother glanced at the TV. "What do you mean, Jin?" "Look," Jin pointed. "Blue, red, yellow, pause. Blue, red, yellow, pause. Over and over." Her father came closer to the screen. "She's right. There is a pattern. And the way it destroys things," Jin continued. "It's not random. It hits one building, waits, hits another, waits the same amount of time, then another." Her parents exchanged looks. "Could it be communication?" her mother whispered. Outside, thunder boomed, but the sky had been clear just minutes ago. "It's here!" someone shouted from the street. Neighbors ran toward their cars, carrying bags and children. Jin's father looked out the window and his face went pale. The beast hung in the sky above their small town, its massive form blocking out the stars. Unlike the attacks on the cities, it wasn't destroying anything yet. It simply watched. "Get in the car now," her father shouted. They rushed outside with their bags. Other families did the same, creating a traffic jam on the narrow road leading out of town. Jin clutched her favorite book about space as they waited in the car. The beast moved closer, hovering directly over the town center. A strange humming filled the air. Car engines stopped working. Phones went dead. Even flashlights flickered out. "We have to run," Jin's mother said. They left the car and joined others fleeing on foot. In the chaos, Jin tripped and fell. By the time she got up, she couldn't see her parents anymore. People rushed past her, too scared to stop. "Mom, Dad," she called, but her voice was lost in the noise. The sky above turned a deep purple as the beast spread out, covering more of the night sky. Jin stood alone on the empty street, looking up at the terrifying creature. But where others saw only a monster, Jin saw those patterns again. The flashing lights seemed to form a kind of sequence, like the math problems she loved to solve in school. Instead of running, Jin walked toward the town's small science center where her parents often worked. Inside, she found the building empty. On a desk sat her father's special equipment that recorded sound waves and light patterns. Jin turned on the machine with shaking hands. The screen lit up, showing colorful lines that jumped with each pulse from the beast above. "You're trying to say something, aren't you?" Jin whispered to the empty room. The beast's lights flashed again. Blue, red, yellow, pause. Blue, red, yellow, pause. Jin looked at the pattern on the screen and understood something no one else had realized. The beast wasn't just destroying. It was asking a question, and Jin might be the only person who could answer. Jin sat alone in the empty science center, her small fingers adjusting dials on her father's equipment. Outside, chaos continued as the last townspeople fled. The beast hovered above, its massive form blocking the stars, strange light still pulsing across its body in that same pattern. Blue, red, yellow, pause. The machine on the desk showed wave, patterns that matched the creature's lights. Jin stared at them, thinking hard. She remembered her math teacher talking about prime numbers and patterns. These pulses seemed to follow rules, just like math problems. "If you're talking," Jin whispered, "then maybe I can talk back." She found the control panel that operated the science center's small radio dish on the roof. It wasn't very powerful, but it might be enough. Jin typed in a simple sequence, copying the beast's own pattern, but adding a new color at the end. Blue, red, yellow, green. Her heart pounded as she pressed the send button. Would the beast understand? Would it get angry? For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the beast's lights changed. It repeated Jin's pattern exactly. Blue, red, yellow, green. Jin gasped. It had listened. It had understood. She tried another pattern, this time adding 2 new colors. Again, the beast repeated it perfectly. Jin felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. This wasn't just a monster. It was intelligent. The building shook suddenly. Outside, military helicopters appeared, circling the beast. They fired missiles that exploded harmlessly against its strange skin. The beast's body glowed bright red, and one helicopter burst into flames and fell from the sky. "No!" Jin shouted, though no one could hear her. "Don't fight it. It's trying to talk." She turned back to the machine and sent a new message. This time a pattern that repeated over and over. Green, green, green. In the simple code she was creating, she hoped this might mean stop or peace. The beast's lights dimmed. It stopped attacking the helicopters, though they continued to circle and fire occasionally. Jin sent the same pattern again. Green, green, green. The beast moved lower, hovering just above the science center's roof. The building creaked under some invisible pressure. Jin should have been terrified, but somehow she wasn't. She felt certain the beast wasn't going to hurt her. A strange sound filled the room, like water bubbling or old pipes groaning. It took Jin a moment to realize the beast was trying to make sounds humans could hear. Jin sent another pattern through the radio dish. This time, instead of colors, she used simple mathematical sequences. 1, 2, 3, then 2, 4, 6, then 3, 6, 9. The beast responded immediately with the next logical sequences. 4, 8, 12, then 5, 10, 15. "You understand math?" Jin whispered in amazement. "Everyone's been fighting you, but no one tried talking to you." The radio on the desk suddenly crackled to life. Through the static came a desperate voice. "This is Dr. Kim. If anyone is at the science center, please respond. My daughter is missing. Please help find Jin." Jin grabbed the radio. "Dad? Dad, I'm here. At the science center. Jin!" Her father's voice broke with relief. "Stay there. We're coming back for you." "Dad, listen. The beast, it's not just destroying things. It's trying to communicate. I've been sending patterns, and it's responding. It understands math." There was a pause before her father answered. "Jin, that's not possible. These things are just destroying machines." "No, Dad. It's been copying my patterns. It stopped attacking when I asked it to." Another voice cut in, a military officer. "Little girl, get out of that building now. We're preparing to drop special bombs on that creature." Jin felt panic rise in her chest. "No, you can't. It's trying to talk to us." The beast moved again, lowering itself until it almost touched the science center's roof. The walls around Jin trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then something extraordinary happened. A thin, glowing tentacle-like appendage extended from the beast's body. It passed through the ceiling as if the building wasn't even there. Jin watched, frozen, as the glowing tendril moved toward her. It stopped just in front of Jin's face. At its tip, the colors changed rapidly. Blue, red, yellow, green, purple, orange, cycling through every color Jin could name, and many she couldn't. Slowly, carefully, Jin reached out her small hand. Her fingers passed through the light, and suddenly, her mind filled with images. She saw stars and strange worlds. She felt confusion and fear, not her own, but the beast's. Jin understood in that moment. The beast was lost. It had come through some kind of door between worlds and couldn't find its way back. The destruction wasn't intentional. It was the result of a frightened being trying to understand a strange place. "You're lost," Jin whispered. The tendril pulsed once, a clear yes. "And you're afraid." Another pulse. Outside, Jin heard helicopters drawing closer, and her parents calling her name. But she and the beast were having their first real conversation, and Jin knew she might be the only person on Earth who could prevent a terrible mistake. "I'll help you," Jin promised. "But you have to stop hurting people, can you understand that?" The glowing tendril wrapped gently around Jin's small hand, not touching her but surrounding her with light. The first bridge of understanding between two worlds had been built by a child who saw patterns where others saw only threats. Jin stood in the science center, her small hand surrounded by the beast's glowing tendril. Through this strange connection, images flooded her mind. Stars, planets, and vast spaces unlike anything she had seen in her books. She understood now that the beast wasn't evil. It was lost and scared in a world it didn't understand. The door to the science center burst open. Jin's parents rushed in, followed by soldiers with large guns. "Jin!" her mother cried, stopping suddenly at the sight before her. "Don't shoot!" Jin shouted as the soldiers raised their weapons. "It's talking to me." Dr. Kim pulled his wife back, his eyes wide with fear and wonder. "Jin, don't move," he whispered. "Dad, it's okay," Jin said calmly. "It's not trying to hurt us, it's lost. It came through some kind of door between worlds and can't find its way back." The glowing tendril retreated slightly, but remained connected to Jin. Through this link, she felt the beast's fear growing as more soldiers entered the room. A tall woman in a military uniform stepped forward. "I'm General Park. We have orders to destroy this thing before it destroys us." "It won't hurt anyone else if we don't hurt it first," Jin insisted. "Look." She turned to her father's equipment and adjusted some dials. On the screen, waves pulsed in clear patterns. "These are its thoughts. It's been trying to communicate all along." Dr. Kim moved cautiously to the machine. "These patterns," he muttered, his scientist mind working quickly despite his fear. "They're too regular to be random." "Let me show you," Jin said. She sent a simple mathematical sequence through the radio dish. Immediately, the beast responded with the next numbers in the sequence. General Park watched with narrowed eyes. It could be mimicking without understanding. "No," Jin's mother said, stepping closer to examine the readouts. "Look at these responses. It's not just copying, it's solving the problems Jin is sending." Jin felt a new message coming through her connection with the beast. Images of destruction filled her mind. Cities burning, people running in fear. But she understood the beast wasn't showing these things with pride. It was confused, asking why humans had attacked first. "It thought our technology was a weapon," Jin explained. "Our satellites, radio towers, power plants. It thought they were being used to attack its home world. It was defending itself." Dr. Kim looked at his daughter in amazement. "How can you know this?" Jin pointed to the glowing tendril. "It's showing me pictures, feelings. I can understand." General Park spoke into her radio. "Hold the airstrike, I repeat, hold the airstrike." To Jin's parents, she said, "You have 1 hour to prove this thing isn't a threat." Jin's father rushed to help her establish better communication. They connected more powerful equipment, creating a makeshift translation system. Jin remained the bridge, interpreting the beast's strange thoughts into words humans could understand. It calls itself Yoon, Jin said after several minutes of intense communication. At least that's the closest I can get to its real name. It comes from somewhere, far away, really far, another galaxy, I think. Ask why it attacked our cities, General Park demanded. Jin closed her eyes, focusing on the connection. It says, our experiments with particle accelerators created holes, tears, something like that, in space. These tears threatened its home. Yoon was sent to stop the damage, but when it arrived here, it got trapped. Dr. Kim typed furiously on his computer. My God, she's right. The new collider tests last month. They detected anomalies they couldn't explain. Jin's mother joined him at the computer. The energy signatures from those tests match the patterns the beast Yoon is producing. Jin felt something new through the connection. A feeling of hope. Yoon had found someone who understood. In her mind, Jin saw images of a device, something that could help Yoon return home. It needs our help, Jin announced. It knows how to get back home, but it needs certain materials, and it needs us to stop the experiments that are damaging the barrier between our worlds. General Park frowned. This could be a trick. It's not, Jin said firmly. Yoon is sorry for the destruction. It was confused and afraid. But now it understands we're not enemies. Through the windows, they could see more military vehicles arriving. Time was running out. Jin's father made a decision. General, we need to broadcast this. The world needs to see that communication is possible. After a tense moment, General Park nodded. Do it. Within minutes, Jin's father had connected their equipment to a satellite uplink. Across the planet, people watched in amazement as a small girl communicated with the terrible creature that had terrorized Earth. The glowing tendril brightened and Jin smiled. Yoon says there are others like it. They're waiting on the other side. If we help Yoon get home, it will tell them that humans are friends, not enemies. For the first time since the beast appeared, hope spread across the world. First contact had been made, not through weapons or fear, but through the understanding heart of a child who saw patterns where others saw only chaos. The news of Jin's communication with the creature called Yoon spread quickly across the world. Within hours, scientists from many countries arrived at the small coastal town. They brought equipment to help Jin and her parents better understand the alien visitor. Jin remained the main connection between humans and Yoon. Though others tried to establish direct contact, only Jin could fully understand the images and feelings Yoon shared. The scientists built a special room where Jin could stay connected to Yoon, while also talking to the humans around her. It's like translating, Jin explained to her mother as doctors checked her health. But instead of words, Yoon sends pictures and feelings into my mind. Dr. Kim worked day and night with other scientists to build better communication tools. They created a special helmet that helped Jin receive Yoon's thoughts more clearly without getting tired. Can you ask Yoon more? About its home? A scientist from America asked. Jin closed her eyes, connecting with the alien through the glowing tendril that now permanently hovered near her. After a moment, she opened her eyes wide. Their world is made of energy more than matter, she said, slowly, trying to put strange concepts into simple words. They don't have solid bodies like us most of the time. They can change shape, and they live much longer than humans. Ask about the attacks, General Park insisted. Though she now believed Jin, the general still worried about Earth's safety. Jin asked, and sadness flowed through the connection. Yoon feels bad about hurting people. It didn't understand at first that buildings had people inside them. Where Yoon comes from, structures aren't for living in. They're more like art or tools. Professor Lee, a physicist who had worked on the particle accelerator experiments, stepped forward. We need to know exactly how our tests damaged the barrier between worlds. When Jin asked this question, Yoon sent complex images of energy fields and vibrating patterns. Jin struggled to explain. It's like, when we smash particles together, it makes tiny tears in space. These tears let energy leak from our world into Yoon's world. This energy is harmful to them. Like radiation is to us, Dr. Kim suggested. Jin nodded. Yes. And the tears were getting bigger. Yoon was sent to find the source and stop it. President Han of South Korea arrived that evening. He watched in amazement as Jin spoke with Yoon. After seeing the communication firsthand, he made a decision. All particle accelerator experiments will stop immediately, he announced, and we will help Yoon return home. That night, Jin's parents found her drawing complex diagrams. Yoon is showing me how to build something, she explained. A device that can heal the tears and create a safe passage home. The world's best engineers worked from Jin's drawings. Materials arrived from across the globe. Even countries that were normally enemies worked together on what they called the Bridge Project. 2 weeks later, Jin stood before the completed device. It looked like a large metal ring filled with swirling lights. Scientists in protective suits made final adjustments based on Jin's instructions. Yoon says it's ready, Jin told her parents. But, she hesitated. Yoon wants me to go, too, just to the edge of the bridge to meet the others like it, to show them that humans are friends. Her parents looked horrified. Absolutely not, her father said. Jin felt Yoon's thoughts push gently into her mind. Yoon promises I'll be safe. I won't actually cross over. But I need to be there when the bridge opens so the others can see a human face. President Han and General Park debated with Jin's parents for hours. Finally, wearing a special suit designed to protect her, Jin stood before the swirling gateway. Are you sure about this? Her mother asked, tears in her eyes. Jin nodded. Yoon would never hurt me, and this might be our only chance to make peace. The device hummed louder. The air inside the ring seemed to fold in on itself, creating a tunnel of light. Jin stepped forward, her hand reaching for the glowing tendril that was her connection to Yoon. As she touched it, the tunnel exploded with color. Jin gasped as she saw them. Dozens of beings like Yoon waiting on the other side. They pulsed with light, their thoughts brushing against her mind with curiosity and wonder. Hello, Jin said simply. I'm Jin, from Earth. The creatures responded, with a wave of friendly feelings. Jin smiled and turned to the cameras that broadcast this moment worldwide. They understand, she said. They'll help us repair the damage and teach us about the universe. We don't have to be afraid anymore. The bridge between worlds had been built, not with weapons or fear, but with the understanding that began when one small girl saw patterns where others saw only threats. 6 months had passed since the day Jin first connected with Yoon. The world had changed in ways no one could have imagined. In place of fear, a new relationship had formed between humanity and the beings from beyond the tear in space. Jin walked through the halls of the newly built Interstellar Communication Center. The building stood on the exact spot where the small Science Center once was. Now, sleek walls housed the most advanced technology ever created, some of it designed with help from Yoon's people, who called themselves the Lumi. Jin had become famous worldwide. At 9 years old, she was the youngest person ever to win the Global Peace Prize. Yet she still wore her hair in simple braids and preferred her comfortable blue shoes over fancy ones. Fame hadn't changed her much. Ambassador Jin, a staff member, called, bowing slightly. The president is waiting in the conference room. Jin nodded. She still found it strange when adults called her ambassador. Her official title was Junior Ambassador to the Lumi, but everyone treated her with the respect given to the most important diplomats. In the large conference room, President Han stood with leaders from many countries. They turned and smiled as Jin entered. There she is, President Han said warmly. Our bridge to the stars. Jin bowed politely. The Lumi sent a new message this morning, she said. They want to show us something important. The conference room had a special area where Jin could connect with the Lumi. A pool of swirling energy, a smaller version of the bridge, allowed their thoughts to reach across space. Jin sat beside it and placed her hand near the energy. The familiar glow surrounded her fingers without touching them. Immediately, images filled her mind. Jin had gotten better at translating these pictures and feelings into words humans could understand. They've repaired most of the tiers between our worlds, she announced. The damage from our particle experiments is almost gone. The scientist in the room nodded with relief. The Lumi had taught them safer ways to study particles without damaging the space between worlds. There's more, Jin continued, her eyes still closed. They want to invite a human delegation to visit their world. A proper visit, not just looking through the bridge. The room burst into excited conversation. This was what many had hoped for, but few believed possible. Is it safe? General Park asked. She had become one of Jin's strongest supporters after seeing how the Lumi helped repair damage they had caused on Earth. Yes, Jin said. They've created a special area where humans can exist comfortably. They want to share knowledge with us. President Han stepped forward. Who will go? Jin opened her eyes and looked at the world leaders. They want me to lead the delegation. They trust me. Her parents, who now worked full-time at the center, exchanged worried looks. Jin was still a child, despite her important role. I'll be safe, Jin assured them. And we need to show the Lumi we trust them as much as they trust us. 1 month later, Jin stood before the full-sized bridge. Behind her stood scientists, diplomats, and her parents, who had insisted on joining the delegation. They all wore special suits designed with Lumi help to protect them in the different environment. Dr. Kim adjusted Jin's helmet. Remember what we practiced. If anything feels wrong, we come back immediately. Jin nodded. The Lumi say we'll understand, so much more once we see their home. The bridge activated, opening a swirling tunnel of light and color. Jin took a deep breath and stepped forward, leading humanity toward its first steps into another world. On the other side, Jin gasped. No human eyes had ever seen such beauty. The Lumi world was made of living light that formed patterns too complex to describe. The Lumi themselves floated around the delegation, their bodies shifting between solid and energy forms. One Lumi, Yoon, approached Jin, its familiar glow wrapping gently around her hand in greeting. We welcome Earth's people. Yoon's thoughts spoke in Jin's mind, and through her translator all humans could hear. Today begins a new chapter for both our worlds. Jin stepped forward as humanity's ambassador. We come in friendship, she said simply. We have much to learn from each other. As Jin looked around at this new world, she remembered how it had all started, with fear and destruction. Yet here they stood, because one small girl had seen patterns where others saw only threats and had the courage to reach out with understanding instead of fear. The greatest bridge between worlds wasn't made of technology. It was built of something much stronger, the ability to see beyond differences and find connection, even with those who seemed most alien. Jin smiled. This was just the beginning.